the joke is none is new. Why did I say that? In the days of the NPP and NPN and the Action Group and all the rest, you would have heard of cross-carpeting. So it's not new when we now baptize it to be defections. But in all these, my question has always been, at what point do we stop at the interest of the personality that is moving from one party to the other and begin to look at the interests of the group? A typical example is a situation whereby if I belong to a political party, I would claim to represent the aspirations of a particular group of people. I will also claim that the manifesto of that party is the ideology I would always follow. But the irony is this: the day I choose to move away from that party to another, I will start a new story telling you that my choice is the choice of the people, whether you believe it or not. And then by the time I move into another party, my ideology completely changes. So where is the interest of the people? Where does it lie? While you're thinking of that, let me introduce you to my guests on this edition of Southeast News. He is someone who has the interests of the Southeast at heart. No, not what you're thinking, not what you're thinking. Not at all. Okay, let me bring it nearer home. He is the president of a foundation that has always been talking about the interests of Ali Igbo. For more than 10 years, they've been on that road, they've been on that path. And for more than 10 years, they've been making inroads. Yes, you got it right. It is none other than Nze, Emeka Coleman. You're welcome to Southeast News.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
How are you this afternoon?
Well, good.
I am happy you're good. And now, give us a little hint about what the Ali Igbo Foundation does.
Thank you once again for having me. Well, Ali Igbo Development Foundation, in short fall, ADF, is a pan-Igbo organization. Their vision and goal centers around the unity of Igbo land, preservation of the heritage of the Igbo culture, and so on and so forth. So it's all about getting the Igbo nation in one piece, getting them united, and tooling a roadmap that will see us coming back to what the Igbo nation were known for before these days.
Now, I purposely skipped the development aspect because looking at my introduction, it does appear as if currently what we do is talk about Igbo interests, talk about Igbo agenda, forgetting that there is a process to move from point A to point B. Yeah. And I believe that's the development era. Now, a little politics here.
Okay.
In 1999, we had several political parties, but majority of the Igbo's, so to speak, chose the PDP as a platform.
That's correct.
To achieve their set goals. But before then, the Igbo's were divided between NPP, NPN, and some of the other parties. The big question has always been, for me, and the one I need you to answer, is what was the interest when we're talking about the 1979 democratic rule and then the 1999? Was the Igbo interest represented in that republic, and is it being represented in this republic in the parties of choice?
Well, that's a big question, but to me, if you look back from 1979 till date, for me, the Igbo interest has not been represented.
Why is that so?
Because we are looking at where we are coming from to where we are heading to. People are looking at from the pace during the Okpara regime and so forth. What was the progress coming from then till the era of 1979? One should expect that from 89 they should have moved upwards. But it looks as if we are not moving forward. Rather, they are moving backwards. Because if you look at, for instance, during the Opera era, the economic situation in the Southeast was one of the best in the world. For instance, you can see that the production of palm produce, for instance, was a major issue, a major pact that was being fronted and being achieved by the Opera regime. But eventually, one expected that this would have gone higher. But today, you can see that the Southeast, which has the primary zone producing palm fruit, it's no longer there. We had it in history. The Malaysian that has they monopolize the oil production in the world now, came to take the palm fruit from the southern east, which was what Okpara and the co did. We are not talking about cashew plantations all over they planted. None of them is in existence. None of them has progressed from what it's supposed to be. So that's why I said we are not moving forward. Rather, it's like we are stagnant or going backwards.
So, continue. Sorry about that.
I think that with what is happening, the political class now are not measuring up from what we expect them to do. I don't want to use the word being self-centered or whatever, but I think they are not measuring up because they are not carrying the interest of the Igbo land as the former political masters used to do.
So where do we separate the politics of economy and the politics of governance? Because from the analogy you gave, there is a distinction between those two. You have governance and establishment of industries. I also recall that even during the Jim Wobody era, there was a green field, there were different things. There was the AVOP, palm oil, groundnut oil at Natch. Now, then it does appear as if there was a balance between economic, politics of economy and the politics of governance. But right now, it does appear as if what we are always seeing is interests in one direction. Probably that is why you're wondering why we're moving backwards and not forwards in terms of development. So where do we differentiate? How would Igbo really secure their position as the alliances are shifting, as the dynamics of politics is shifting in the Southeast?
Well, you see, with the shifting of the dynamic of politics now, I tend to agree or look at it from this angle that majority of people who are playing politics now are not playing politics for the interests of the masses. Because if they do, the issue about developmental areas that they're supposed to cover, which will interest or will benefit the public, would have been in the utmost on their mind. But you find out that majority of the politicians now are more interested in what will benefit them personally, not to the public, the masses they claim to be working for. So, in the era of the Okbaras, they were not interested in making money or having multiple houses across the world. They were interested in what will benefit the masses they are serving. But in this era, you find out, like you mentioned, AVOP. AVOP was, the AVOP company came up during Jim Obodo. If you go there now, it's an eyesore. Because people, subsequent governments, supposed to have upgraded it, but they left it lying low, and it got engulfed by fire, and nobody is trying to revive it. And this is a place that if it has been developed, at least it will take care of some unemployed youths. The people in the village there will have, because they have the products, they have the groundnuts they produce there. So all the raw materials needed there will improve farming, it will improve, develop the area, there will be inflow of investors. But you find out that the place is lying very low and nothing is happening. And the people in government, the people who are the politicians, are not interested in asking why and what is happening. And it baffles me that nobody is questioning that. And you find out that this the minds of the people, especially the youth now, are being tailored into how to make money, not how to, what will benefit the upcoming generations.
Yes and no. Now, what is in the minds of youths is how to make money.
Yes.
And this same group of people are supposed to be the future leaders. The essence of governance is to provide employment for the people, take care of their welfare. Let's use the word welfare to cover everything government has to do. Now, if the youths are looking for money, doesn't that show that there is a gap? If there was gainful employment, I think they will be more organized in looking for power. That's why there's a school of thought that says that poverty has been weaponized. So people are no longer thinking of what is best for the communities, but what is best for their stomach. And that's why they talk about stomach infrastructure. But I'll still come there. I just want to remind you that in 2017, 2018, there was also a movement. Then some people left APC and moved back to PDP. Right now, the fear of people seems to be that the nation is drifting into a one-party system. But given the Nigerian history, is that possible?
Well, I don't think it's possible because this has been on and on like this. People will, when the political era comes up, people will shift from one party to the other. Basically because of their personal interest, not the interest of the people. Because if it is the interest of the people, your ideology or what you have promised to do for the people will be your focus. Then, but in this case, you find out that politicians are interested in where do I go to get what I want, not what the people want. So in this divide, you find out that the interest is more on the personal than on the public interest. Because if it's on the public interest, you find out that whatever you do will be determined by the interest of the people you are representing. But in this case, you take the people will bring you to an office. You get to the office. As soon as you get into the office, your personal interest runs above the public interest. So, like you talked about the issue of the youth, government basically government is not supposed to be giving people money. It's supposed to create an environment where everybody can come a level playing ground. People will be able to, if you're an investor, you find your level. If you're an educationist, you find your level. Then at any level, at any point, any level you find yourself, you could be able to excel. But in this case, that is not the case. That is why the people, it looks at people are waiting for government to come and give them money. Because if there is an opportunity that you go to school and you come out from school, you get an employment. If you're an engineer, you'll be able to secure an employment. You can start growing from that ladder until you get to a certain level. Before now, when you are finishing from the university, you're not university, when you are finishing from school starts, you already have a teaching job waiting for you as an auxiliary teacher. When you finish from the university, in fact, you already have a car loan. So, but what happens to those programs now? Is it that the Nigeria, has it changed? It is just that the people who are running the affairs of the government are not interested in following what the rudiments are.
Okay, now, there's something you said that attracted me, because we started talking about the future leaders who are still being led by the leaders that should have handed over to them. What interested me, attracted my attention to what you said, was the fact that you gave a scenario that showed that mentorship is no longer there
at all.
I wonder why we have lost that, because the beauty of life is for somebody to stand tall when they begin to go downhill, to say A or B or C is my successor.
Correct.
He has been under my wings and I can vouch that he will deliver. Why have we lost it? Because in Igbo culture, mentorship is a known system.
That's correct.
So why is it out of the window when it comes to politics?
That is the big question that everybody needs to answer.
I am waiting for you to answer it.
Because the mentorship, like you rightly said, the Igbo system of, for instance, this Igbo system of apprenticeship has been so successful that even in advanced world today, they are trying to embrace it. But the people that originated it are trying to run away from it. So the question is, what you produce that people are eager to learn and improve on it, you, the person that invented it or produced it, are running away from it. It's a very big question that needs to be answered by the Igbo's, because I tell you, when we talk about the culture or the cultural heritage of the Igbo people, it's so organized that there is, the mentorship is there. You can't see a young man who is not looking, who is growing, he has somebody is looking up at. You find out people who say, go and learn trade from this man because he's so and so. Everybody who is asking you to do one thing has a plan, he has a projection that you are going to get here, and from there you can grow up to that. But all these are vanishing away because, one, from my thinking personally, the people who are supposed to keep this mentorship at the level it's supposed to be are no longer interested, for reasons I do not know. For instance, what killed most of the issue about apprentices, before now it's a taboo for you to have a boy that is learning a trade under you, and you signed for 2 years or 3 years for you for him to learn such trades, and after that year there is a ritual you call it settlement. You need to settle the person so that you can pray for him and he starts up. People start at a point to stop completing that obligation that they have. So you find out that you have a boy who has come to learn a trade with you, spend 1, 2, 3, 4 years. At the 5th year that is supposed to be free and start on his own, there's a story. He will not be settled. He looks at himself as being useless. First, he has learned the trade. Second, he cannot start because there's no money to start. Now, thirdly, you that's supposed to have facilitated this movement will not do anything. Instead, you label, he has done this, he has done that. Because of this, you won't be able to perform that ritual. Then the youth start losing interest in going to apprenticeship. Nobody at the time decided to say, no, wait, this is not good. It has run for some years. Now it becomes as if it is a normal thing, the norms.
So, is that what's happening in politics? Because the youths who are the future leaders are not in politics in positions where they can call the shots. They're not in positions where they can be called stakeholders. You discover that anytime, any party, someone's stakeholders meeting, you see the elder ones. The elderly ones are there, the young ones are not there. So, is it the same thing that's happening? Now, there is this issue known as structure owners. People who, due to good fortunes, have enough money, and so what they do is ensure that they have structures in place. If you now want to join politics, they'll tell you what it will take you to be part of it. And if you can foot the bill, they give you their structure to rent and give you the terms and conditions. But in all this, if the future truly belongs to the youth, how can the Igbo'S secure their own interest by saying, let's come back, have a rethink, replan. The future belongs to this youth. It's time for us to begin to show them the ropes. Why would you have a situation whereby in the Southeast, when there is a call for a political meeting nationally, you still see the same old group of people, old set of people going. But from other sections, you begin to see some old and a mixture of young people. Why?
You see, the major issue that I found with the political class in the southeastern Nigeria is that first, they lost trust. They do not trust that any younger person could take over their position. Two, because of maybe what they have done that is not in conformity with governance or with politics. They are afraid of bringing in the youth, fear of taking over from them, and fear of exposing what they have done that they didn't know. Are the two major things that I think. Now, you see that during the old era, I take for instance, there are some notable politicians of, let's call them like Minister of the Odin during the pre-independence era. I think I remember his name, Bishop of blessed memory. During their days, they were people you call your PAs or your assistants that follows you to every meeting. They graduate from being PAs to substantive stakeholders. Because during the time they follow you to meetings as a minister, as a stakeholder, they get involved and get to know the rudiments of politics. But in these days, the politicians of these days, if they take you as PA, it means you must be a stooge. You will not ask questions. Even when you see something that is wrong, you will not ask questions. So, if you are by any means perceived to be smart, count yourself out from that system. So, that is why you find out that they are not interested in bringing in, mentoring people that will replace them. Because you find out each set of political class that is going out, ask yourself who is going to replace them. From the south is none.
So how do we remedy it?
The remedy is one. We are looking at how the Igbo nation has lost the unity they were known for. Because I believe that if we begin to come back together and have a sense of unity as an Igbo nation, begin to understand what we call do's and don'ts in the culture of Igbo land, you begin to respect your elders, the elders begin to respect their young ones. But in this case, you just find out that people, for instance, let me digress a little. Before now, you don't become a title holder in Igbo land, except there are some qualities you must measure up. But you find out now, if you have money now, you can become anything you want to be. The question is, why those who are giving some people chieftaincy title on that level were not given like that when they were growing up? What happened? Because there's a shift from money making. People are interested, like we talked about stomach infrastructure. It boils down to what you are hungry, and somebody said you want to give you 10,000 naira for you to be able to give him a child, and you know he's not qualified. If you don't give him, you don't get the 10,000 naira. What happens? It's you and the in between you and the deep sea. Do I do this and get the money, or I get hungry? So, but if the Igbo nation or the Igbo people decides to come back and go look for their roots, some of these things will be remedied, because by the time you begin to fall back to culture and fall back to what that are the do's and don'ts or the norms of the culture, you begin to realign back to what is supposed to be.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bad.
Nze Emeka Coleman.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. And that reminds me, President Ali Igbo Development Foundation.
Yes.
I won't forget that. Now, I want to say thank you very much for coming on to Southeast News. I had fun. I am very sure we'll do this again, because the interest of the Igbo has to be secured in whatever you talk about, whether it's in the economic angle, if it's in governance, most of all, politics. We'll be here again tomorrow. Barry Kumo Ado is my name. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you.